Eric,
Hey, can you hear
there you
me?
are. We have the video still off, but you're on it.
Okay. All right.
Fun, fun, fun.
And then, so, because we did omit all those other people, so they're technically on here too, so they're hearing audio and all that stuff, and so once we get going, then we'll have to turn on camera and do all that stuff,
yeah.
just letting everyone know.
Yeah. So I can go to just,
Yeah, you can do that, yeah. We just have to be,
yeah. So we're pretty much live right now. The only thing we have to do is hit record and we start.
yeah, once it's time.
So Anthony,
So Rick,
my name's Rick, not Tim.
did I say Tim?
Check your
Oh.
minutes.
Last minute.
All right. And if I tell 10 people my name, 9 of them will call me Tim.
Oh man, that's good. So there's an amendment to the minutes, I hear. Allegedly.
I got 5.
Anybody there?
No. I think I saw your wife driving.
Yeah, I think Maria's in the parking lot. I think Andrew McKeever might have just pulled up too.
So make this a fast one because I've been up since 3 this morning. Literally, I just pulled into a place that has internet.
We'll try our best.
We only have 7.
See it, don't you? I don't think there was anybody at the meeting that week named Tim. So.
You got me.
Down in Rocky Mount, Virginia, it's 84 degrees down here.
Nice.
Leaves are out.
Huh.
Pollen is out. Check this out, Bruce. Got a couple nice ones in here.
Yeah. Nice.
Where's the last one? I think they're all from Vermont.
Hello.
Andrew,
Long time no see.
been a day or two.
What's that?
Been a day or two.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeff. He might not be able to hear us. Or I might have him.
Oh yeah, he's muted, okay.
So.
All right, there we go. Hi, Bruce. Hi, guys.
Hey Jeff,
Yep.
so we have about 2 minutes. 2 minutes till the meeting.
I got a crowd tonight.
Yep.
Is Marty coming?
Marty's out of town.
Oh.
Hello.
Is he on there?
Sure is.
Yeah, he made it.
Okay,
Who, Tim?
I wasn't sure.
We got 1 minute to the meeting.
She's got to sit in the front row.
And you got somebody else on
Wanting
there.
to come in
Oh, Clement York.
Yeah.
All right,
Good, you?
good.
Good.
My dog was growling at you today when you were outside your yard. When
Oh,
she
really?
was- She was inside growling, I'm like, what are you doing? She's really like big, bad and mean when she's inside.
He looks like a little bear cub.
Yeah.
So,
Cute, big, not a little bear though, no.
all right,
Time?
yeah, whenever you're ready. And to the cloud, I think.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
All right, you guys ready? Okay, good evening. It's Monday, April 14th, 2025, 7 p.m. This is the Sunderland Select Board meeting. The first order of business is introduction of board members. I'm Todd Lawrence. We have Bruce Mattson. Marty Nadler is out of town. We have Anthony Thompson joining us, and then also Rick Timmerman joining us on Zoom. And Rick, for open meeting, can you just announce yourself with your name?
Every time, or just this is Rick Timmerman?
Just the initial. Just the initial.
This is Rick Timmerman. I'm via Zoom tonight.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Next item is approval of minutes. We have 2 minutes to approve. First one's the approval of minutes from the March 24th Select Board meeting. We can have a motion.
Make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from March 24th, please say aye.
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 Next one's the approval of minutes from March 26th. It was a special select board meeting. If I can just say a motion for that one.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of approval of minutes from March 26th special select board meeting, please say aye.
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 Okay, perfect. Moving along, we have public comment. Any members of the public here would like to?
No comment.
No? Okay. Before we get going to the rest of the agenda, I just want to make one thing. There is item number 12 on the agenda. It'll be the Vermont Council of Rural Development Community Visit Update from Alyssa Johnson. She'll be joining us from Zoom, I believe, and she'll be in around 8 o'clock, right? Okay. So I just want to let that know as we get going, if we get closer to 8 o'clock, we might have to move some stuff around if we're still discussing regular business. Item number 5 is the Vermont 250th commemoration update from Andrew McKeever.
Great, well, you've probably been seeing the signs out there, the sign out by the front driveway about the upcoming 250 commemoration. This is basically a commemoration of Ethan Allen, the Green Mountain Boys March to Fort Ticonderoga. And I just wanted to kind of make sure that you guys are all kind of aware of that coming up. I got some brochures here I'll leave with you all, but you may well have been following some of it out there, but basically the big events will start actually Saturday, May 3rd. There'll be a couple of days before that down in Bennington. There'll be some other stuff more related to schools and kids. But I just wanted to kind of point out that on Sunday, May 4th, the R. Allen House here in Sunderland will be part of the tour, if you will, of people who will be traveling up from Pownell on up through Manchester, Dorset. So we were able to kind of get into the mix of it all, and that's basically the town's role, if you will, on what's going to be happening. But I just thought you'd want to be just sort of aware of it, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have. I mean, it is a 3-year-long event. This is just the first year, and the focus is on the Fort Ticonderoga March. Next year, the focus will be around the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And then in 2027, the Battle of Bennington will be the kind of the main focus. So there'll be things going on, and what other things potentially we could do around that next year. I've been hoping to kind of do more stuff kind of with the schools or whatever, but we just didn't work out. So maybe next year, actually, with the Declaration of Independence might be a better time anyways. Try to do something like that. We also thought about seeing if there were doing things like if there were any current residents who could trace their ancestry back to 1761 or some of the first settlers here.
Yeah.
But that's again a project for the future. Anyway, so everyone's welcome to stop by the R. Allen House and go check it out if you have time. We'll be there from Davis Hayden and I will be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Davis has generously volunteered to stop in and kind of just talk to people who may be stopping in as they go up Route 7 or 7A. Just to talk about the town and to talk about the R. Allen House building. So that's basically the gist of it all for right now. But it was kind of one of these things where I really wanted to make sure that the town had some kind of part in the whole thing. There'll be a couple of events going on in Manchester and then more in Dorset and then ultimately Paulet before things kind of go up to Castleton for the following weekend. We're looking actually, the actual anniversary of the attack in Fort Ticonderoga was May 10th, 1775. So I don't know, there may be some more things going on up there, but anyway, it's kind of interesting and hopefully we'll get a little buzz out of it. So that's all I just wanted to kind of fill you all in on, but
And that's
here are some brochures on this thing. This is the one about the R. Allen House, and then this is the one, that's sort of the general one.
okay.
That's going out to everybody. So there you go.
Awesome, appreciate it. And that's open to is that free to the public?
Free
before?
and open to the public. Yep.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go take a look in there. So because it's not the whole house that was original.
The
It's
smaller part there
smaller
on
part.
kind of the left-hand side as we're looking at
Okay.
it on the road. Yeah, that was R. Allen and Ethan Allen lived there from like 1779 to 1780, something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's kind of interesting stuff.
Do you know? I mean, since we have a little bit of time, do you know with like the routing they took when they marched? Is it roughly where
We're
7
trying to
is?
figure that out. One of the problems is there are historical records from that era are kind of a little shaky.
Yeah.
But basically, as best as we can determine, Route 7 or Route 7A is pretty close to what the road was, at least from Bennington to here. I think they probably then took what turned into Lathrop Lane and then went on into Manchester from there, and then took Manchester West Road to Dorset West Road, and then up to Route 30, on up to Castleton, roughly speaking.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was the exact same path that those roads are in now, but pretty close, as best we can tell. But they went in small groups.
Yeah.
So they probably traveled in different ways, different places. It's really quite fascinating when you kind of dig into some of this.
Yeah. I always think it's like 250 years sounds like a lot, but it's really not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. So you just visualize people coming through, going up to Fort Ty. So anyone have any questions or comments or? No, this is great. I appreciate you keeping on top of this. I think most of the town, I would like to at least be advised of stuff going on and how we can help or as things get moving. We have just that little sliver that they went through. So, I mean, that's great. I'm gonna try to stop by and take a look. Yeah, appreciate it.
Great, yeah, it's been fun.
If I have a question, okay, good. I didn't know if you could hear me. Just real quick, I'm sorry, Andrew, what is the date of the event at the Ira Allen House?
Sunday, May 4th,
Okay, thank you. And the time, I'm sorry.
from 10 to 2.
Okay, thank you.
And Andrew, I'm just thinking of one last question. Do you know that tree at the Ira Allen House? Do they know roughly how old that is?
300 years old.
Okay.
So it was there when
That's what I always
Ethan and
thought.
I were hanging out.
It's one of those another.
Probably a little bit smaller than it is now, but
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it precedes them. That was one of the first questions I asked the owners there too.
Yeah, I always get worried about it, and then the leaves come out, and
Yeah.
I'm good for the next season, so. Alright, appreciate that, appreciate it. Next topic, if we're ready to move on. Next topic is item number 6, that's the Lucy Prince Home Site Historical Marker application. Jeff, if you want to start. Talk
Yeah, pretty briefly. We all know about Lucy. I think we should by now, and the fact that she did live, and this was confirmed by Jim and Avis Hayden, down near at the end of Andowa, near the camp, in that area, as best we could tell. So we've been talking about getting this historical marker. We've been semi-approved already, only because it was done in Brattleboro about a year and a half ago. They put a plaque because Lucy and her husband had lived down in that neck of the woods. And so a lot of the historical research that the State Historical Society, or not society, but the people that handle this have to do, they've already done. So we had to, with our sign, just say why, it was important to Sunderland and where she lived. And we didn't tell specifically, we don't want to do that. But so there was an application. They had a 2-year moratorium due to COVID, and now they're up and running again. The application I had emailed to the board, or to the select board, and pretty self-explanatory. The wording is there. You have 765 spaces on each side. That includes blank, where there's no letters or anything. You all know the one at Chiselville. There is one in front of Ira Allen House. You try to tell enough of the story, but not so much that the font is so small. But it's hard to tell the story without the font getting kind of small. But in any event, we got the okay, and I wasn't really clear if we really needed it because of the right of way and the road that we have, like 6-10 feet in on the side. But I did get the approval of the owners of that land. And in what I sent to the town, you saw the picture. You can see it there of the corner of Andowa and Hill Farm. That's where we're thinking it would go. But again, the state has the final approval, and I guess talking to the town, they would work out something, but they had to have a tentative location. And it will probably, it may happen by the end of this year, but it does take a while. They send it to a forge, and it has to be, obviously made specific to what we're putting on it. So that's pretty much it. I just had to, I don't think the board has to sign off on anything, but as you may have seen, I did have to say when I conferred or discussed it with the board. And I had put March 26th only because that's when I had sent the packet, the application to each of the board members. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to see if I can answer them. One other thing, the wording, that took a while because, as you know, you do one of these things and everybody that looks at it has more ideas, but we relied on Gretchen Gerzina and on Avis. Gretchen wrote an award-winning book about Lucy and her family, and she signed off and said, yeah, I think it's good. Avis, the same thing. Avis had a few more specific to Sunderland details that we put in. And so that's where the wording came from, basically from the two of them. So any questions? And if there are none, and if you're okay, I don't know if you have to vote or not, but if you do, that's fine. I would then mail or email this to the historical group in Montpelier, and they would then tell us if it's officially approved. So that's it.
Do you, I looked online, I don't think there's no cost associated other than our town labor to install the sign, or does the state install it?
A good point. I think we have to, there was nobody there that worked on the Chiselville. I know Jim Hayden did. Does anyone remember on Chiselville? Did Mark have to put that in there, or that was the most recent one?
I don't
I
know.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that we did, but I mean, I'm sure we can check with Mark to see. Andrew, do you remember?
No, that was before my time, so I know Cubby was also involved in that, Cubby Ennis. So I remember seeing it there when the unveiling took place.
Okay. Well, again, good question. I'll check with them, but and let you know for sure. But
Okay.
shouldn't be too much. If we did have to pay anything, I'm not sure, but.
But yeah, the actual, I didn't see anything on the state website about cost. So I'm assuming because it's a state project,
Right.
it's borne by the state for the most part, the making of the sign and everything.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the way it is, Todd. And I know the one in Brattleboro is actually inside the Welcome Center there at the first exit. And so my guess would be the state probably put that in. Again, that was a state building, I'm sure, but the fact that ours is more like public land, I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, okay. Do you guys, what's your thought? Do we need to vote on it or?
I have one, do we have permission from the owner of the property where the sign is going?
Yeah, they sent me a letter. I don't know if I included that, but it was very, it was brief. It took a while to get them, find out where they are. They're down in New Jersey and they finally got back to me. I think they might have thought it was junk mail or something, but they said, yeah, I probably have it, but it says, something like we enthusiastically endorse this. We think it's great. So yeah, they had no problem with it at all.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you think we do, Rick? Need to vote on it, or? I don't think so.
I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, I'd make a motion that we proceed with the plaque from the state, and if the town has to use our labor to install it, I think
Okay.
we should do it.
Yeah, it's probably minimal if we do in terms of time even, but.
Okay, so we have the motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on the sign? No? Okay, all in favor of approving the sign and moving forward, and then approving any town labor for installing the sign if need be, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, that has passed. Thank you, Jeff, for all your work, and Avis on getting this going and dealing with, starting back in COVID to now. I appreciate, the town appreciates all that.
Good. No, my pleasure. And thank you to the board too. And so, yeah, I will get you an answer on the labor just so we know for sure. And then, but I'll go ahead and get this up to them and we're off and running, I guess.
Okay, appreciate it. If we're ready to move on, the next item is the MERP grant status update. I have myself and then Jeff on here also. I guess I can, if it's okay with Jeff, I can start because it's regarding the financial hardship request.
Sure.
Last meeting, I'm kind of talking loud for the Zoom people, so I'm sorry if it seems like I'm yelling.
I hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, so the last meeting, the Energy Committee gave a little presentation on the MERP grant and getting that moving again. And part of that was the funding and the financial part of it. Part of the MERP grant allows for towns to apply for something called financial hardship with the state. Usually with these grants, all that money the town has to pay up front and then file to get it reimbursed. Financial hardship, we sent a letter to the town or to the state. The state came back, I believe it was last week, in an email saying that we've been approved 20% for the financial hardship. And so total, it's a little over, I think, 41,000, the initial amount that we can get. The next steps for the financial hardship would be to, let's see here, submit a bunch of paperwork. have. Yeah, it was.
Todd, is that the,
Here it is. Yeah, so for the financial hardship, we would have to submit an affirmative use of funds form, a payment request form, and a federal W-9 form to the state, and then that would get the ball moving for them to send out the initial 41,000 to whatever the account that the town would want to do. Last week, I was trying to figure out how to move forward with this and kind of researching the topic and getting everything lined up to be able to present today. So I reached out to BCRC and I met with Callie Fishburne and I invited our BCRC liaison, Rick. So we met with Callie on Friday morning to go over everything and kind of get our ducks squared away, ducks in a row, I guess, and figure out what the steps are that we need to move forward. And that's the first thing that we would have to probably do is get these forms submitted to the state, and then we can move on to the next steps. I don't know, any questions on this first part with the financial hardship? I did talk to Meg, her name's Meg, she's the grant administrator with the state regarding the potential to move up to go to 40% financial hardship. And basically what we would have to do is we'd have to submit those same forms, the affirmative use of funds, the payment request, and the W-9, and then any invoices that we got to kind of say, like, we have these invoices, we have to get this funds to help us financial burden if we had the funds up front. And then they would make the decision to go up to 40% or not, depending on what we had for invoices.
Yeah, I just had a question, Todd, because, you know, and I might be jumping ahead, but the part about Centerline, so if we're approved and we're gonna get 41,000 up front pending the paperwork just submitted, I guess. And their fee is like 13, and I'm not sure when that we pay that. I know there could be more if there's more work they have to do. But with the 41 coming in, with so many towns going with Centerline, it'd be great if we could get that agreement signed tonight and get the okay for that down to Centerline. Is that possible? I mean, the money's going to be there more than enough.
Yeah, I think that's like subtopic number letter B. So I had it broken down just to make it a little easier.
Okay.
I had the first part on the agenda is the financial hardship request approval. I guess that was just us agreeing to submit those forms to the state.
Okay.
If we agreed to that, and then the next step would be on the agenda would be to discuss the center line.
Okay.
So I'm not forgetting the center line. I just wanted to break it up just to make it easier for decision making. Like, we have to accept the financial portion first, and then then we can discuss right after.
Okay.
Possibly.
That's fine. So.
Okay. Any questions or comments from you guys? I don't know, Rick, do you want to start?
No, I think, well, I've got more to say about Centerline than this initial process, but I guess just for clarification, once the initial 20% is spent, that we receive for the hardship, do you then reapply for another 20%? Is it ongoing?
So what Meg, I forgot her last name, I can look it up, but Meg, the grant administrator from the state, was saying, and I think Callie also kind of referenced it, was like they'll submit that, they'll give you the first 20%, and then you would have to reapply, or it would go into that rolling, then you have to submit the invoices and they would pay.
Submit it, yeah.
So there wasn't a definite answer that I got. It was, I mean, the money's there, they said, so it'd be.
No, and I think that's something that Callie, I at least put myself at ease as far as, the money has been allocated by the state. And, you know, so from that standpoint, I think we're just in a procedural standpoint
Yeah,
of, you know, getting our paperwork in order, to get the first initial payment sent to us. So,
yeah,
I'm certainly in favor of that.
okay. Bruce, do you have any
No,
on this first part?
so what, are we gonna vote on two separate issues or?
I was thinking, because it is kind of two separate items.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what I was thinking, just to make it easier, we would vote on that first part of accepting the financial hardship and then approving, I'm assuming it would be Caroline, the treasurer, to fill out the financial forms with any kind of signature, or actually, I guess I would probably have to submit a signature, or I'm not too sure. But yeah, it'd be us submitting the forms, and then the next item would be the Centerline discussion afterwards. Anthony, you got any?
No, I think we're ready to make a motion. I'll make that motion to accept and submit the forms.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to figure out this one, if it would be the treasurer or a member of the select board that would fund it.
Probably the select board.
Okay, name and title of the duly authorized agent. Okay. And then this one be make check payable, so this one might be Caroline, I don't know. Or I guess I can sign it.
No, I think you sign it.
You want me to sign? Okay. Yeah, if somebody wants to make a motion to accept the financial hardship and then authorize signatures for the forms.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second, any further discussion on this? No? Okay, so, what was I saying? So the motion for, approving the financial hardship from the state and authorizing the signatures, needed to the affirmation of use funds and the payment request form. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, that has been approved.
You're just gonna sign it or?
Yeah, I'll sign the affirmation of funds. I'll have to add the grant, so I might have to fill out the grant number after, if that's okay, but I'll put my name down. I'll have to add the total amount, let's see. It's the 14th. And this is the payment request form. And I'll meet with Caroline probably on Wednesday, because tomorrow's tax day. So I'll give her time tomorrow, but I'll meet with her probably on Wednesday to get the rest of the payment information and the account numbers, if that works with everyone. And then we'll get this part submitted. Okay, so there's that. Okay, if we're good with that portion, we can move on to the subcategory B. And that's the Centerline Architects Agreement for the MERP Project Management Services. Rick and I did have Callie email everyone on a Friday night with the packet of all the information for the grant, and I don't know if anyone was able to look at it. Do we have any questions, or Rick, I don't know if you want to start a discussion on it?
No, there's just a couple of things. When we met with Callie, she kind of reassured Todd and myself that, you know, we're really not behind the eight ball, as far as, you know, having our paperwork in or actually having contracts signed with Centerline. She's like, basically, we're kind of right in the middle of the pack. So I didn't sense the urgency from her. She did indicate that the folks at Centerline, apparently Kelly Clark Harrington is going out, or she's out on maternity leave right now. So it's going to be switching over to Gary Corey is going to be kind of handling, I think, our our project if we move forward with it. But other than that, I mean, Callie was very informative, and she, like I said, she put me at ease as far as what the program is. She did indicate there's definitely a priority order as far as what projects would happen first, and also indicated just due to the circumstances with the state of the economy and costs that, probably pretty likely some of the stuff towards the bottom is probably not going to make it just because of the funds or lack thereof. So, and all I had on that.
Was she definite on that, Rick, or just saying it could happen, that there's no fund for?
Well, she said she's sure. Her comment was that the estimates were done a year and a half ago when they came around,
right.
and just with this state of everything that's happening last couple of weeks, costs are definitely going up on a lot of items. So.
Okay.
But there's definitely an order to the priority. I believe it was, thermal shields. Basically the thermal shields and insulation was probably the top priority, and then I think it's looking into alternative fuels for heating and cooling. So if we could get those taken care of, that certainly would be a benefit to the town.
Right. Yeah, I agree. They got that priority list. I think Bruce had a question about that last meeting, and I sent that to either Todd or the entire board, what those priorities are. And it does show, like, things that are way at the bottom. Number one is, the envelope, they call it, seal up. So we can get moving on that. And again, a lot of this hinges on what Centerline finds. I mean, we know that they're the company we want to use. The other one, you've already, disapproved them, and Centerline is the one to go with. So whatever they find, that'll tell us how much we can do, when we can do it. They help with the not only a cost estimate, but also getting the vendors, or the contractors, I should say. So we'll know more once they've started their work and look at everything.
Do you have anything, Bruce?
I just had one thing about the taking the propane out of the town garage. I think that it says it, but I think it should be that it was, the heat pump was just gonna be added for extra heat. We weren't actually gonna take the propane out.
Yeah, that was my interpretation too, that the heat pump probably could be the primary source, with the propane, shield up on top of the radiated heat as a secondary. I mean, Mark would be able to, see how he wants to use it, whichever way we can save the most money in propane, I guess. But yeah, again, it may be something that Centerline has to say in terms of what they think.
That was something that I brought up. That was something I brought up to Callie, because both in the proposal from Centerline and I believe from the Merck grant, it actually said replace existing heating system, which is verbally they keep saying, well, no, it's just, that will supplement it, but in writing it's stating replacement, which I think we definitely need to get a clarification on that. I think it was on item 27. I forget which document it was, which document Callie gave us, but
Okay. Again, I'm not, I mean, who would be best to answer that, I guess? Centerline, when they start their work, or? Because I don't know,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
don't. I don't think. I mean, we have an existing heating system that is still functional. And honestly, for a garage application, radiant heating is actually better than air to air heating. I mean, you're actually heating up objects. So I would greatly disagree with removing the existing heating. I have no problem supplementing it, but I would think that'd be a mistake if we did that.
Okay,
It's something we'll just have to work through with Centerline, and the project managers.
right.
Yeah, in the RFP that they submitted, it does say, I was looking at it this morning, it does say in alignment with RFP task 1, we will start with project scoping and conceptual design services. The goal of this phase is to confirm that proposed projects make sense, add more detail to the description of work, and make sure the project's within our budget. So it looks like task 1, which I'm assuming they haven't started with, they haven't paid them, is says they'll confirm the required HVAC loads, all the systems, all the related electrical work. So kind of how they phrased task 1 is that the way I read it is that's when they would come to us and after looking through all the documents, the energy audit, that would be when they would discuss the scope of the work, any study findings, and all that stuff. That's just how I kind of viewed it or read it in the document. I don't know if anyone else had any.
Just looking at the state's website on MERP, it does include both options. It says supplementing or replacing fossil fuel heat systems, so it looks like it could go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw too on the energy audit that was done back in September. The heat pump could heat the building for the majority of the year, while the gas-fired infrared tube heater would operate only on the coldest days. Technical specifications of a specific heat pump would need to be confirmed before purchasing, obviously. So again, this is what we'd be paying Centerline for, to make their suggestions. I think, the select board would have the final say, so let's see what they have to say. I think that's the way to go personally.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Would they actually look at the building to see if it's how the structure is before, is that part of it?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's week 3. They do building visits. So that's a big part. They'll probably spend a bunch of time, especially at the garage. But they'll do both buildings right up front, pretty quickly up front.
And then it says weeks 4 and 5, after they do the architectural, mechanical, and code assessments, it says prepare recommendations. So I'm assuming that's also when they would take, again, all the documents, all of our discussions, and that's when they would come back to the energy and the select board.
Right.
This is what we recommend using for the best solution and cost for all of us, right?
I think so, exactly, yeah.
Anything else, Rick?
No, I mean, no. I mean, are we ready for a motion, or Anthony, do you have anything?
No, nothing to add.
Okay.
What are you guys, what are your thoughts? Do anyone want to make a motion on, so the estimated cost, just to get that out there, and it's part of the grant, so all this comes out of the grant itself. The initial cost would be about $12,865 out of the grant. And then there's also, add-ons and other things, but the initial is $12,865, which is, I think, less than 10% of the total grant amount, which is kind of in line with consulting fees, project management fees with grants.
Right.
Just want to throw that out there so everyone was aware of the cost.
So I would make a motion that upon approval for the hardship, after we submit the final 3 documents to them, upon approval of that, then we go ahead and sign the contract with Centerline. This way we don't have to drag it out to another meeting.
Okay, we have a motion. Any seconds?
I'll second that.
Alright, we have a second. Any discussion on that?
How long would that actually take
For what?
to get the rest of the paperwork and?
I think it's really, I would probably, cause tomorrow's tax day, so I don't think I could bombard Caroline in the office with this, but I would go on Wednesday to the office, get all the forms. I also, Rick and I at our meeting, we kinda discussed with Callie what her role is, so if I did have any questions and guidance on forms, I could call her or the state, but yeah, I would submit the forms, and I think the state was saying they were trying to turn around forms or funds within 3 days. But I would say
Yeah,
it could be up to 30. I think the grant itself says up to 30 days, but everything like Callie was saying and Meg with the state was saying, they try to get stuff sent out as quick as possible because it's already been allocated for ARPA.
So if it's all done, can we just have you sign it and we don't need to go any further with this? Do we need to add that for Todd to sign it, or are we all supposed to?
Do you want me to wait until we wanted to wait until we get some kind of.
Well, I think we just need to make sure that we get the forms sent in, that we crossed our T's and dotted our I's, and then we can move on forward with Centerline. I mean, they're it's a W-9. That's no big deal. I'm sure these are boilerplate forms that we need to fill out, so it shouldn't take long. So no, I mean, I don't think we need to wait to receive the money. I think just verification that they received the forms and we're all set, ready to go.
Can I ask just a quick question? I don't know. I'm not a select board member. I don't know how
Yeah, go ahead.
Robert's rules.
We're casual here, so.
Okay, good enough. Real quick, because I know, Todd, you had said you had gotten the approval for the 10% or the 20%.
Yeah.
Was that in writing, or
That was
could
an
the
email.
forms say, no, now we don't approve you? I just want to be clear on how that worked.
That was an email that was sent. I have to find it, but there was an email back and forth. Let's see what it says.
I mean, I would think if we send the forms in, I'm sure we can send them electronically on Wednesday. We can have this signed with Centerline by Thursday, Friday, the latest.
Okay, no, that's fine. If it can be this week, that's good. My question was more like, could all of this fall apart in terms of hardship? And they say, no, those 3 forms somehow did sway us not to give you approval. That's why I'm wondering, are they on record for saying you got 20%? Maybe we'll give you 40. That's another issue, but.
The state, with the email, the state reached out to Caroline in the office and talked to Caroline.
Okay.
Caroline's thing regarding that, she says, with the info that the state has now, they can do up to 20%. If the town is looking for more, she'll need more information. And then later on, there was a bunch of emails back and forth, and she pretty much, she says she was looking forward to their reply, our reply, so she can get us folks some money.
Okay, well, it sounds pretty solid.
I talked to her on the phone, and I talked to her on the phone too, and it was really just hinged on getting these next those forms submitted.
Okay.
We
All
are,
right.
yeah.
That's
My
thank
understanding,
you.
and I'm confident, is that we have the 20%, because that's what she said. We had 41,000. We just
Right.
have to submit the form, so then she can send us the money.
Okay, thank you.
Basically. So, sorry,
So can
Yeah.
we have it so that once this is taken care of, that you just sign it and you
Yes.
don't have to do any more?
yeah, I mean,
Yes.
if that's what the motion was, I don't remember.
I think we might need to add you signing it.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the motion?
Amendment to Rick's motion to have Todd sign it once all the paperwork's done.
Okay, do we have a second for that amendment?
I'll second that. I second it.
Okay. Rick seconded it. Any discussion on that amendment?
Get that, Anthony?
Oh. Okay, so we have a motion to accept the Centerline Architects proposal to provide project management services to this MERP grant, contingent on me submitting the forms to the state for financial hardship. And I will sign the document after those forms have been submitted and accepted. That's how I'm reading the motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, that has passed. So yeah, Jeff, just for your clarification, yeah, I'll get those on Wednesday to the state.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I could probably submit them electronically. I'll always follow up with a phone call.
Okay.
And then after that's done, I will sign these forms and get those submitted.
Good. Yeah, thanks, Todd. Thanks, Rick, for, meeting with Callie, and thanks to the board for getting this thing still moving. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're getting there. We're just trying to get everything, the base.
I know, a lot of red tape. I understand.
Okay, next item is road liaison. Bruce, do you have anything?
I guess the first one that the insurance has sent the last check, it was all put into one and transferred to the reserve fund. Second item I have is the purchase of the excavator bucket. I know Rick looked around and Mark looked some more and haven't really found anything cheaper. So I think that it was like 24,000 something, I don't remember actually the exact number. So I don't know if we wanna
25,400 from the minutes from our last meeting.
25.
Could we get, for that, especially for that amount, can we get I guess we have to draw it to the next meeting, but can we get a quote with that on, from the dealer with the costs? Just so we can, if, for something to vote on? Yeah, would that be okay?
Yeah,
I just think with the 24,000 or whatever the cost is, I think it'd be just helpful to have it on an official quote from the dealer.
yeah. I just wanted to bring it up because it was mentioned of a safety issue, so we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have any comments on the excavator bucket?
If he can get 2 more quotes, I mean, I'm not sure. It's hard when it's a specialty piece of equipment, but if Mark can see if there's somebody else, I mean, an extra quote.
I asked him and he said that that's the cheapest one he found. So I guess we'll.
Well, yeah, I mean,
all-
if he's received quotes from others, I mean, if they can just send a quote, so at least we'd have 3 to compare, and we can still go with the local vendor. So
I'll have him get 3 written or quotes so that the board can look at them and then proceed on purchasing it.
Yeah, I think that would be.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Then we talked about the request of purchasing shipping containers at that same meeting last, when he was here.
Yeah.
So I don't really see why we can't go ahead and have those purchased. And I believe that was coming out of the special projects originally. So Marty's not here, but I believe the initial thing was for the containers to come out of the special projects fund.
Yeah, I think that was the intention, because it kind of went in line with the ARPA, back when it was ARPA, to get as much equipment out of the elements, right? Isn't that kind of what without building a full structure?
I think it comes in with this MERV grant too, to put where stuff needs to go somewhere.
Okay,
So they have to empty the garage out and put stuff in for this,
To support.
yeah.
yeah, and then, and I think last meeting they were gonna reach out to planning, I think even though we're not,
Yeah, he was looking
yeah,
with,
Yeah, I
actually-
think it had to do with the railroad, the setback from the railroad.
Yeah,
Because weren't they talking
Dave
about
was-
putting it behind the building?
I think Dave was gonna look into the permit process and make sure we did everything right.
yeah, I mean, I'm in, unofficially, I think the bucket is something that probably needs to be done. And then the storage thing kind of goes in line with what our ARPA is, but I think with like the storage too, yeah, I think that might have to be tabled to the next meeting until we have some kind of, again, if he can provide us with the quotes again
Okay.
on paper, I think that'd be a good policy, or to move forward with that kind of stuff, is where we get the quotes on paper, and then that way we can go from there. But I don't think for the storage it wasn't too expensive. I think it was like 6,000. He was estimating with shipping.
$600 delivery fee.
Yeah.
So do we need more quotes on the containers or do we just want the three on the bucket?
What are your
I
thoughts?
think he looked around,
No, I think it's a good policy, and I think if you look at our procurement policy, it probably
Okay.
if it's over a certain amount, I think it was over $5,000, then they really should be adding, or at least trying to get at least 3 different quotes. And there's times that you can only get 2 sometimes, so but written quotes certainly would be helpful, at least so we then have something to go back on, so.
I think that's what I'm gonna, written ones. He might have actually called and talked to other people and gotten different quotes, but nothing on paper.
Yeah, and on my business side, I mean, that's constantly, with municipalities, they always need 3 quotes, it seems like, so vendors should understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Mark's shopping around, so he's effectively doing that, but just confirming it and documenting it would be
Yeah,
what the
you can
quotes do.
just get an email to,
Our last minutes noted that Mark was gonna look for a Vermont supplier, just cause the 6,000 quote was Washington County Fairgrounds, and I don't know if there was any lead on a Vermont supplier for a fair price like that.
well, I'll ask him.
Is there a plan B as to where the containers will be put if they can't be put behind the building? Like, where would the next place be that they would be placed? Because I think from a standpoint of like visual, you don't wanna get a lot of feedback of where they're probably not gonna look all that great. So, I understand like going behind the building, it sort of hides it a little bit, but if that's not an option, what's gonna be the option for where they're gonna be put?
If at all.
I think he said they're clean and painted and
Okay.
pretty nice containers.
Okay, but will they be right down?
Right
like-
behind the building toward the tracks, there'll be
Yeah.
actually 2 short ones.
Okay, yeah, I'm not worried about the ones going behind the building, I'm just saying if they can't go behind the building, like what is their next thought as to where they're gonna be? Like right there where the salt shed used to be, to the left if you're looking, like kind of where the guys park, would they line them up right there, or do you have any idea?
Well, that's a possibility.
Okay,
That probably would be the only other place, really.
okay. I mean, just a question.
We kind of went down there a while ago and talked about maybe, like a pole barn for putting the equipment in and, nothing overly fancy, just to
Right.
cover it.
Right,
So we were kind of looking at that. There's a big pile there
Yeah.
that has some stuff in it that would need to go, but there's room.
there's room, yeah.
And if there's nothing else, that's all it.
I think that's, if we've got the quotes, I think that would be good, and then we can move forward with that one. Okay, I guess item number 9.
I just had a quick
yeah,
I had
go
a quick
ahead.
question for Bruce. So, as far as the truck that was totaled, so the town was able to keep the plows that were on that truck?
Yep, the plow, the wing and the tower, and do what we want to them. Mark's been told he wants to do something with the wing, so.
That's great.
Okay, good.
I was just thinking, I did talk to Caroline when I came into the meeting tonight. She was still in her office. The insurance money for the truck is in, it got sent to its own insurance, like recovery fund account. And then we would have to, at some point, I think, move it over to equipment.
We already agreed upon doing that
Oh,
at the
okay.
last meeting, and I asked her today if that was
Okay, gotcha.
moved into it, so it needs, yeah.
Okay, I was just thinking about that. I
She
was
told me
curious.
it was.
Okay. Emergency management, the only thing I had, I moved one of my items to the next meeting. ICS 402, it's incident command, training for town leaders. It's on April 28th from 11 to 3 in Manchester at the fire station. I took it last year, down in Bennington. I might go again just for a nice refresher, but if anyone's, interested, let me know. I can send you the invites. And the other thing is, on the list of topics that's ever growing is, at some point I would like to look into maybe getting grants or whether funding, some kind of funding sources out there for AEDs. AED, I think a public building, especially a meeting building, and then the town garage, would probably be beneficial to have some kind of AED, I don't remember how, whatever, the defibrillators. Have one in the public space.
Good idea.
Yeah, so I don't know if at this point, I don't know if I need to vote, but I'd like to at least start perusing, seeing what kind of grants there are out there, and reporting back to the board at some point. And I was thinking this building, and I talked to Jeff a little bit too about it, this building and then probably down at the town garage. So 2 units, there probably have to be, policy drawn up and stuff, but I think it's just a prudent thing to have. Yeah, Jeff? Nope, you're muted.
Did I mute it?
Yeah, okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, the only thing I would add too is once we do have them, that the Red Cross usually offers free training, so it'd be great if as many people as possible could be trained. Obviously, Caroline, Mark, whomever, board, select board, but there's usually not a cost for that, so just throw it out there for something for us to consider later.
Okay, perfect.
I've already been trained.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't think I need to, because it's just go and look, but I don't know what you guys think.
We could make a motion that you look into it and proceed with it, and
You wanna make that motion, or you want me to make it, or
Is that a motion?
or should I make it?
You can make it. I think you should just, it sounds like a good idea. I think you should just go through it and
Okay,
get it done.
alright, I'll make a motion then, a motion for the Emergency Management Department of the town of Sunderland, myself, to research and report back to the select board, information on AEDs for the town office and the garage.
Do we actually, you need to report back? I would just go ahead and get them and find out about training and,
Well, they cost a couple, they're like 2,000 each.
yeah.
So yeah, I probably should, I think I'd probably wanna report back in a before doing any purchasing, because I don't have that authority.
Yeah, I didn't know there were that much.
Yeah, that's why they have grants and stuff for them. They're like 1,200 to 1,400, I think.
Would the grant cover them all, or?
I'd have to look. That's the one thing, yeah. So it's just research at this point.
All right,
So, motion to research and, report back to the select board on findings about AEDs.
I'll second that.
Yeah, any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
all right.
Aye.
The next thing, this one's real quick, I think we have, so the Communication Union District, on the March 10th meeting, the board reappointed myself and then also appointed Anthony to be the representatives and the alternate on the Communication Union District. I advised BCRC, who's kind of the administrator of it. There is a form that has to be submitted, since we already did the authorization in the meeting. I just wanted to publicly verify that I did have Caroline, because she has to sign it, just fill out the form. I don't think I have to do a reauthorization since we did it in the meeting. I just need Anthony's info on that. And then I'm gonna submit that to the Cali with BCRC. But I just wanted to verify this. Anthony, are you okay if we jump ahead?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And I think okay.
She's right here.
All right, we're gonna bounce ahead. It's 8 o'clock, right on the dot, to item number 12, Vermont Council of Rural Development Community Deficit Update.
Hi, everyone. Well, first, thank you. And let me say how impressed I am. I sit in a lot of select board meetings, so 8 p.m. being 8 p.m. is very impressive. So thank you for your accommodation. I'm coming at you live from outside the Putney Fire Station, where my colleagues are facilitating a community meeting. So I said, gotta bop out and check in with Sunderland. So sorry to not be there in person, but thank you all for having me. Andrew conveyed to me you all were interested in an update. We're getting right about that time where we start reaching out. So I'm happy to just once again give a kind of quick overview of the process and what next steps would look like, and then answer any questions you all might have. It is April currently, so we at the Vermont Council on Rural Development are working in Roxbury. I think I got to meet some of you all back in December when I came in. So again, the Sunderland Select Board previously sent a letter requesting this community visit process. Our board of directors has approved that. So we have you scheduled as next on your list if it's good for you all. So what the timeline would look like is starting about now ahead of time, we would start putting together a planning committee. The Vermont Council on Rural Development, we're a neutral convener of public process. We don't know anything about Sunderland, but we know that we have to ask the people in Sunderland to find out what you all need and want to do. So before we get to planning any of the big public meetings, we have a one-time planning meeting with folks from across the community, hopefully right in the room where you're sitting. I've been told that your town clerk is the one I should contact to make sure it's free and available. So we would pull together a group of folks. That would be a meeting in May. And at that meeting, we would say, in Sunderland, what are the topics people want to talk about? What are the things top of mind? What are the things that if we come here and say what's on people's mind, what do they want to talk about? And also, how do we get the word out? We use the information from those meetings to design 3 big public meetings. So for you all, in terms of timing, we would be looking at those public meetings in June, July, and August. At that planning meeting, we ask folks to bring their calendar because we don't want to conflict with any sort of standing town events that are happening. And we would come up with what those dates are. That first one, it's all about ideas. So it's really a fun gathering. I'm actually excited you all might be in the summer. So it would be both business and fun, but we do have a dinner, hopefully some live music. Before and after that, there's community forums. And we at the Council on Rural Development would come and we'd invite everyone in town and ask them 3 big questions. What do you like about Sunderland? What's working well? What are the challenges? And most importantly, what are your ideas for the future? At that first meeting, we're all about gathering as many ideas from as many people as possible. And again, the topics for those discussions would be decided by that planning meeting in May. After that, we would come back a month later. So again, this would be July. And you can imagine that if we ask everyone in town what they think in a couple of different rooms, there might be some overlap. And at that point, we would come back and say, all right, out of all it's usually 10 to 12 pages of notes that we get, here's 20 or so ideas that we heard from you all in Sunderland for you to talk about. And we do real-time voting. Everyone in the room gets to vote to say, of all of the ideas you could do, what are those ones that feel most important for your community right now? We're very clear throughout this process. We ask for an invitation for the select board. This is not town meeting. This is not a formal vote. This is not obligating you all to do it. It's just saying, of everyone who came in, these are things people think are important. And what we've found from working across Vermont, we've done this community visit process in some 90 odd communities, is that having things that the community is interested in is a great way to line people up. You all, as has been evidenced tonight, have quite a lot on your plate just managing the town, and give them some structure to help volunteer and move the future of the town forward. A month later, so again, this would be August, we come back for a third meeting. And it's really about building action plans. So whatever the town decides is important, we want to get folks there who can help. So that might be resource providers, regional planning commission, folks from the state, who can actually help you make those things happen. So whatever it is that you want to do, we want to both help you decide what's most important right now, and then connect you with the tools and resources to make it happen. We also document all of this throughout the process in a big report that will be provided to you with all of the notes, all of the ideas, even those that aren't prioritized. That's the big overview of the process. Again, I'm happy to answer questions. But again, the timeline that we would be able to work with, again, if it's amenable for you all, would be to start that planning process in May, the public meetings in June, July, and August. Again, dates determined with input from the community. For you all on the board, the two asks we make of the select board, we have funding for our staff time and to cover other expenses related to the meetings. The two asks from you all are, one, a townwide mailing for that first meeting as part of getting the word out to everyone in town, and to help figure out the dinner for that first meeting. Potluck is totally fine. It's up to you all what you want to do, but those are the two asks of the select board for the community visit process. Happy to answer questions on any of that.
I don't have any.
Anthony?
Sorry, what was the August meeting? Did I miss that or?
Like
Building.
what happens?
Okay, yeah, so I just didn't know specifically August.
Totally. So that would be the third meeting. And I would say broadly, I mean, I'll just name for summer for you all in general. I don't have kids, but what my colleagues with kids say is you shouldn't do anything in the last 2 weeks of August because no one is around and school is starting again. And so when it comes to that scheduling piece, we're certainly aware of that. So all that to say, but yes, again, roughly June would be that first input. July would be prioritizing. August would be building those action teams based on what you all pick. And resource providers.
Rick, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, just for for May, because what is it? It's beginning of April, so we would look for another email or phone call with, are you coordinating with Andrew, or are you?
We had
Great
a conversation the other day about this planning meeting. I guess we were thinking, May 13th or 14th were possible dates, and trying to assemble a group of about maybe 12 or 13 people from the Raleigh community who just to get together and kind of pre-flight the whole thing and make sure we get off to a positive start.
Okay.
So I was hoping that some of you guys might want to be part of that, but it's only one meeting.
I would say that the two asks for the select board, we often find it works well, kind of like you just did for, I'm emergency management, I'm communications union. If one of you is willing to be the representative and come to that meeting on behalf of the board, that would be wonderful. And then the other option is I'm happy to have calls with one or more of you to help build at that list. Again, I don't know who I should be calling in town. You do. So that doesn't need to be any formal time. I can just schedule that over email with you. Again, Andrew, being as persistent and awesome as Andrew is, says, Alyssa, can we schedule this? And we already did, but happy to meet with one or more of you again to do that list of who should I be calling in town. We literally have a whole checklist, everything from who's a good person who knows about the church to who's been here forever, who just moved to town, kind of the whole gamut to get a good selection of folks.
Okay. And then for the mailings, VCR, do you produce the mailings and then you just reimburse, or are we producing the mailings ourselves?
Good question. We can essentially do whatever works for you. Some towns have a really good system. They mail out town reports. They say, yep, we'll take care of it. Regardless for the process, we design a flyer and a website. We can design a postcard and send it to get printed. So truly it's whatever's easiest for you all in terms of the person who would be coordinating it, but we're happy to take on the designing it and getting it all set up. We do just ask you to cover the cost for the first one.
Okay.
I'd say go with design.
Yeah, we don't. I took a
Sorry.
power class in 8th grade, but.
Right.
So Andrew, just so you know, just so there's not a conflict, the BCRC's annual meeting is the 15th of May, which is a Thursday. So just
Right.
so we don't run into a conflict right out of the box.
Yeah. I think Alyssa, we had mentioned what the 13th or the 14th were possible days on your end. Was that?
Yeah, I think we have staff who could that day. Yep. But I know I didn't get a chance to call today to confirm your space there in town. But we find once we get to doing the phone calls, obviously it's much easier if I'm calling someone with an ask for a specific day for that meeting. So we would set that before actually getting to the outreach calls.
And what would be like the minimum number of people we need to assemble for this meeting? Could we get away with 10, or we really should have 12 or more? Or looking through some of the reports from the community visits you've done earlier that you guys gave to me, looks like there are some communities that had like 20 or more people for that planning session, which for us I think would be ambitious, but possible, I guess, I don't know, but that just strikes me as a lot. That would be a lot to assemble, and maybe too many actually. But would 10 or 12 be workable, or is that just too small?
I'd probably want a little more than that. I mean, I think our biggest underlying thing is making sure we're getting a good representation of everyone in the community. So again, I mean, I'll say, Andrew, I think we spoke and you probably gave me 25 names, so I'm less concerned about us getting enough folks. When you get 25, that is probably getting towards a little bigger. But I would say I would aim for probably around 15 at least. And then, but again, sometimes folks wear multiple hats in the community, so they're super involved and have kids, so they can talk about the school as well, or, whatever the combination might be. Our goal is really to make sure that we have enough people from all different corners of the community that we're not missing something. Again, we don't know anything about the community. We want to understand how we can get to as many different corners of the community. So it's really about building the list that best represents that, more than a specific number, but I'd give you 15 as a good ballpark.
So I guess I would say if you guys have any thoughts or suggestions as to who might be good to invite, let me know. I've got a short list together, but it's just kind of the people I know. There's going to be a whole chunk of the community that, I wouldn't think of, but I'm sure you guys probably know people that, I think it would be great to have a cross-section of the community, basically, not just
Yeah, I've got some
people who serve on
names
select
that
boards.
wouldn't mind sharing, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Anthony and I, we both of our kids, or all of our kids are at schools in here, and we can reach out to the principal and all the parents probably at the schools and all that stuff. So at least that portion is kind of covered, I guess. We could reach out and I think we can probably get names and cover that.
Well, send them on over to me and or with contact information also. Phones or emails or whatever. I also did drop off a little blurb to the school, asking if they could put it in their newsletter.
Okay.
Just so people can get more aware of it. I thought that might be one way of kind of getting the word out as to
How about
have the school do one.
Yeah, Front Porch Forum.
Yeah, I was thinking
I'm
the
sorry.
same thing.
Put it on Front Porch Forum.
Right, oh, that too.
I mean, because that's gonna reach a bunch of people that, you know, some more random peoples.
Yeah,
And by the time this is over, let me just say, if we've done our job right, by the time this is over, you'll be sick of people asking you about the Sunderland community visit. They'll say, I've heard about it 5 separate times. It was on Front Porch Forum and the school and in the newspaper. And again, that's part of our planning meeting, is really building that list of what are the specific ways. Do you know in Bridport, Vermont, if you want to get the word out, you have to have it on the Delhi radio station. And that was like the most effective way to get the word out in Bridport. And would I have known that going in? No. And I went to the planning meeting and they said, oh, you got to get on with Delhi Deb. Everyone tunes in and that's how they'll find out about it. So truly, we never know. We'll build that list with that group in May, and then really make sure to follow up once we have all the dates set to get people there.
okay, perfect.
Is there one select board member I heard who's interested in being a point of contact, or do you still all want to think and talk about that some more?
Any of you guys want it first, or it's up to you guys?
I'm gonna be pretty busy soon.
I mean, I would be interested in attending, so I might as well be the contact, yeah.
It's up to you, yeah.
If you wanted to team up.
I'll let you take it.
I'll definitely be at the meeting, so I would be happy to represent the select board.
All right, can I grab a name? I'm so sorry, I can't see your placards from here.
All right, my name's Anthony Thompson.
Great, and I heard you were the other school one. I made the note, I just couldn't see you. Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
So just to conclude then, step one is to get this planning committee scheduled and people lined up for it. We'll talk about what we're gonna talk about then in June and July and August. And we'll focus on getting the word out, so to speak. But that would be our first step, is this planning meeting in mid-May sometime. Okay.
So I have one question.
No, go ahead, Bruce. I'll wait till you're done.
Quite some time when we first started, we were at dinner, we were going to maybe look into a grant to see if that was available. Did you ever actually look into that, Andrew?
I did, I couldn't find one.
No.
So, I don't know, we had set aside, I don't know, 2,000 out of the special projects for this.
I believe it was mentioned, I'm not really, I think so.
That's what I recall anyway, was what we set aside way back when for the mailing and the dinner, which I guess the dinner could be boxes of pizzas, I suppose, right? You know, with whatever. I mean, a potluck would be fun, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it just depends, I guess, how many people show up and.
Yeah.
But,
But
okay,
anyway, no, to answer your question, Bruce, no, I didn't find out about the grant.
Okay. I know it was brought up back then, and I do remember the 2,000 for the special projects. So that was all I want to know.
okay,
Did Jeff have a question?
Yeah,
sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, real quick, the meeting, did you say possibly May 13th, Andrew or Alyssa?
That was one of the potential dates.
And that could be a Zoom, right? You could do that?
Yeah, I will say in general, it's not a public meeting, not because we don't want it to be, but you heard me talking with Andrew about like 15 to 25 and it getting a little unwieldy. So we
Right.
do tend to have it be just an in-person meeting just for logistics of facilitating it. Because again, it's not a full select board meeting. We're asking for one person to be there just to help do the planning.
Right.
So we don't normally do hybrid for that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I'm interested, but I'm away most of the middle of May, but I can talk to Andrew about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So could it be offered?
Huh?
Could the Zoom be offered at that time?
Yeah, if there's multiple people who lead it, one of the questions we ask at that meeting is, should we do Zoom for the next 3 meetings in June, July, and August? Because it's really about, again, what works for each community. You know, some of the towns in the Northeast Kingdom say, well, our coverage is so bad, no one could even attend that way. And other towns say, wow, this is so important. We use it all the time. It has to be on Zoom. So we're really flexible to what works. If there's folks who need to be there and it needs to be on Zoom, we can do a hybrid meeting.
So, okay, so we could do Zoom. I'm just wondering, would it be a good idea just to kind of settle on a date right now while we're here? I mean, I realize it's still a month away, but would the 13th or the 14th? I mean, I'm
I
just
think
thinking,
those are the two, but I make a generally never commit to anything before I've talked to town staff. So I'm not going to say anything until I make a call, until I also confirm with my team. But I think those are the two that we're debating between.
okay.
And is it morning, afternoon, evening?
Generally an evening meeting.
All right.
Either date works for me, but yeah, that sounds good.
So to get most people here, but if they can't and they wanna kind of zoom in, could be offered.
Yeah, depending on the participants, if they felt they wanted to be involved but couldn't physically be here.
Because we
You
can
mean
send
Zoom
the
for
link.
the,
Right.
like the June, July, August meetings, or
Just to start, I was just,
for the planning meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we could do that, we could do that from here.
okay.
I'm not sure what the Zoom setup would be like over at the school.
Yeah,
Where
at least for the
meetings are gonna
planning. Yeah, at least for the planning, you guys could do if it needed to, you could do a hybrid here. I don't know about the school yet, but at least for the initial, so.
But anyway, because the school will be where we'll actually have those large meetings.
Okay.
I've got that set up with the principal over there.
Great. All right, anything else? Are we good with this topic and anything?
As far as I know.
Okay, well, I guess, on our end, I appreciate you, taking the time out and, reporting back to us on the next steps, and I look forward to the meetings and, participating.
Okay,
So I
thank
guess
you.
we should talk and, well, we'll settle on a firm date when you've checked in with the folks. And we'll start to get the word out process.
All right.
Getting the word out process.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Sounds good.
Have a little faith. I will
Thank
say
you.
we've done this a lot. We're pretty good at the word out. So thank you all. We really appreciate taking the time, and we're really excited to work from you all. And again, the phone calls are one of my favorite parts of my job. It's pretty neat to call all around Vermont and hear from folks about their community. So we're really looking forward to the process. Thanks for having us. And Anthony, I'll be in touch with the finalized date, and then also to get your input on who we need to make sure is there, again, whether in person or on Zoom. So thanks all. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa.
All right, we bounce back to, item number 11, it's the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance. I put you on there, Anthony, I didn't know if you had anything.
I only have one update from my first meeting. I have a second later this week. And it wasn't a hard update, which is why I didn't mention it last meeting, but the cost to towns is slightly more than originally estimated. And I think ours was, for the first 2 quarters, a couple $1,000s. So the estimated increase would be about 50% higher than that so far. And now that the quarter is ended, I'm assuming I'll have a little bit more information. Obviously, we're not through the end of the fiscal year, but I'll find out in a couple days if that's more accurately stated or just a better estimate. But just, that was the only really update, and happy to ask any questions if we have anything specific that we're looking to find out from the Alliance.
Alright, perfect, I don't have anything for that. Bruce, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Rick, you're good?
I'm good.
Item 13, old business. I put down just to close it up, but the municipal planning grant. That was the one Rob from planning came and was looking to get finalized. I was able to work with BCRC, and we were able to get that municipal planning grant submitted to the state on time. It was accepted, and I think they're going through the whole process, and everyone in the town and Rob will hear back. I don't know what the turnaround time was, but they'll hear back in the next couple of weeks, I'm assuming, for that. And then also from the last meeting, the Sunderland Elementary School, the wish tree. Currently the tree is a little over 6 feet tall. It's thriving inside the school building. I did talk to Becca in the office here, cause her family has a landscaping business, and I was asking her, in their opinion, where would a good spot be here on the town property for a red oak tree, which could be 350 years old and pretty big. There's not too many places left for a tree that size on our property, so I did, she recommended the spot, I know I'm pointing out there, but what is that, to the east of the building, kind of around that one open area by the above ground septic tank area. I do have a picture of kind of the viewpoint of it. So kind of along the road that goes to the back. Kind of tucked or out of the way, far enough from the building, far enough from the septic tank, but it also gives it space for potential growth. 350 years if it lives and thrives. So that's just that one location. I did talk to Mark, and pretty much whenever we're ready, if we do want to move forward with it, the town highway guys will pick up the tree and plant it for us. Principal Turner said the ideal time for planting that is late April, mid to late April, early May. That gives it time for the roots of the tree to grow and get ready for winter time. So that's kind of probably the best location, just out there for that tree. I was thinking, it'd be nice if it was down by the road behind the sign, but then the power lines are too close, I think, so.
We can back it down, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Where's
I thought
the,
we actually-
where's the leach
Yeah, go ahead.
field? Where's the leach field on the property?
Towards the gate,
Okay, so it's not, I mean, I can't really see where you're proposing, but,
towards the Green Mountains. Right,
no, I
pretty much
understand
straight-
that, but I'm not sure where you're talking about actually putting the tree. I know the Green Mountains are British.
Oh. I don't know if you can see this picture,
I can
it's not really,
text you.
That's all right, that's all right, as long as it's not,
If you're facing the town office from the parking lot, it's off.
it's gonna be off to the left. No,
If
as long
you're
as,
facing the septic tank, it's off to the left of the septic tank. Between the road and the septic tank, there's that pretty maybe 50-foot, 100-foot section of ground that's not saturated. It'd be somewhere in that middle of that open section.
okay,
I didn't know about the above ground mounding septic tanks, if they have the full extent of the underground leach field, or I don't know.
yeah, that would be my only concern, down the road, that we don't wanna have the roots going in there, but, so, that's the only reason I brought that up.
how come we couldn't have it right out here?
I think just because the tree could get pretty massive.
Well, you got the whole field.
Well, I didn't think we could put anything in the field.
I
'Cause
don't
it's-
see why you can't put something in the field, I would say you could.
I just assumed because it was a wetland or whatever that we couldn't plant anything.
I would personally think it would look better that way than over and behind the building. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was just under the impression that I couldn't put anything in the field.
If it's gonna be a big, huge tree in the future, it'd have a lot of shade. What do you think, Rick?
The only concern I would have is, future solar. You don't wanna take away sun to the south or the west, so.
I mean, I think.
I'm sure 300 years from now, they'll have other forms of energy 300 years from now when this thing is massive, so.
Mhm.
Well, it's
Hopefully.
between here and the road, there's quite a stretch.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it, I'm just questioning where the tree's going. I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just the one spot that I was thinking, and that's what they were recommending just for landscape purposes out that way, cause there's nothing there. But,
Did they consider out in the field?
I asked about the field and, I was told that they thought also that nothing could go out in the middle of the field or anything like that, cause it's a wetland. The tree also doesn't want to, that type of tree doesn't like super saturated soil, it likes, kind of faster drying soil. So I mean, hopefully it thrives out here, but I think that was one of the challenges with some of these other spots, especially along the front. It's pretty soggy out there.
I don't know, I'd almost get some other opinions of where the tree would go, but that's just me.
I would leave
Yeah,
the
Jeff?
decision up to our tree warden.
Yeah, I can follow up with Mark and see what the tree warden thinks.
It pertains to what we're talking about, but it's a little off topic because it mentions the special projects. As we all know, there are a couple of the proposals were pavilion, gazebo, whatever, but part of that, or even before that, was if we had a study done in that Dubois and King engineering firm said that they do one for like 1,500, just so we could definitively, unless somebody has found out, here's the documents that say it is wetlands, and you can do this, you can't do that. I know the question that in the ARPA committee was, we don't know. We've heard rumors, but we don't know. So I'm just throwing that out to say that it could be a special project thing to determine once and all what you can do with that land, if anything.
I think the determination of the land was made when the town hall was built, because it specifically had to be at the location that it's at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
that may be it. I know I had asked Susan and she said, but we never found anything in writing, which was a little surprising, but that somebody wouldn't have said, here's a.
I mean, I actually went back and I referred to John Williams, who was on the board back then and very involved in the whole process of the town hall building. So I've heard things about butterflies or whatever, but the location is due to, the wetlands that it's
Okay.
on.
All right, well.
Okay.
So I think that's a good idea to have him get Mark's input where he thinks it should be.
Okay. I get, if, I don't know how I should handle this one. In terms of, do you want me to ask Mark and then report back by the next meeting, April 28th?
Didn't we the last meeting pretty much,
Approved it.
approved, Mark putting the tree in, and it just hadn't approved of where the tree was going?
Yeah.
I would discuss his opinion of the tree and where he thinks his opinion should go. And if he thinks, I just think it might be nicer out here, but because that's on the kind of the end of the property area, but anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I thought about, the spots out closer to the building, but then, you have the solar issues, but then also the abundance of acorns dropping on cars and stuff, if it was in like any of these strips around here.
But I mean, out 50 yards from the edge of the lawn,
Yeah,
or 80 yards from the edge of the lawn.
okay, yeah, I could follow up with Mark and I guess report back on the next meeting, or I don't know.
He's actually dug holes out there, so he kind of knows if it's suitable for a tree, and being the tree warden, I think he'd be a good idea to ask him.
Do we need to report back or just have him advise the plan in either
Yeah.
location, or do we have a strong opinion in one or the other?
I guess what was if I don't like where he wants to put the tree? That's where it kind of gets to, right? Like, do I have to go with his, I guess that'd be the motion then, right?
Right.
So.
Is this live TV? Because this is riveting.
Sunderland Live. So, Yeah,
We kinda approved a tree being planted
We did.
last time,
Yeah.
so.
Just
yeah.
broadly
Yeah.
at the town hall.
yes, and then I brought back the kind of the proposal for the location. Okay, I don't know, do I need to make a motion
I
to?
don't think so.
Okay,
No,
I'll
no,
discuss with.
I think at this point, get Mark involved and Becca, and you need to take into the consideration of the soil requirements for,
Yeah.
is it red oak or white oak, whatever we're talking about here.
The red
So,
oak, yeah.
so
Okay, and then I can advise, informational only, I guess, email, to the board of where it's gonna go.
sure.
After talking with Mark and Becca. Good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
No, too good night.
Okay. Andrew, do you have any opinion on where the tree would go?
Put it wherever you want.
Okay.
And Andrew, you can't leave. You got to stay.
I'm gonna head out too, guys.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good job, guys. Talk to you later.
All right, any new business?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
Keep this meeting rolling. So on April 10th, I met with Sheriff James Gully, Lieutenant Roscoe Harrington, and Detective Peter Urbanowitz down at the Sheriff's Department. Gave me a tour of their facilities down south of Bennington. We discussed an awful lot, but we discussed patrolling of the town. Rather than just setting up and sitting in spots for speed checks and all, actually patrolling the town and driving all the roads. The one of the things that they mentioned, which I thought was great, is I guess we had some residents complain to the sheriff's department about excessive speed by some of the dump trucks running on the town roads, and they actually came up and were looking for them, and they actually spoke out to the owners of the companies and just said, hey, tell you guys to slow down because people are starting to complain about it. So and I think I know on Sunderland Hill it certainly has been effective. What else did we talk about? We had a very lengthy discussion about some unfortunate situations that have happened in Stamford and Shaftesbury, with some elements coming into town that were unwanted, I guess. So it's something that the sheriffs are keeping an eye on, and we certainly want to do what we can to prevent that from happening in Sunderland. Sheriff Gully is going to have a direct line of communication with myself if they hear or see of anything going on that they feel that we should be, brought up to speed on. The reports, currently what they've been doing is they've been mailing their sheriff reports to the town, and typically we don't get them until we have a meeting and we're sitting there trying to go through the warrants and everything. So they are going to start emailing that as well as mailing originals to us, but they're going to email it in electronic form. I think they're just going to send it to me, and then I'll certainly share it with the board as well, so we can all review that. And the other thing that we talked about, or I didn't, we kind of talked about it, but the speed signs. The town used to have some speed signs. I think, Bruce, I don't know, are they all broken at this point?
They had one that got smashed. I don't know if it was
Okay.
those beer bottle throwing things or what.
Well, we have a couple options. I mean, I know we can look into possibly getting speed signs, but the least I could do is, I know the sheriff's department has their portable ones, and see if they can place some of those around town. So, rather than us investing in speed signs, maybe they can, put one on North Road in the mornings, or, South Road or wherever, just to borrow theirs. And so that's just wanted to bring you up to date on that. I think that's it. Getting tired.
Those were actually on the list of, things.
On the ARPA, the
Yeah.
special projects, yeah. And there's grants for those too, like the permanent signs, I think.
Yeah,
I like the temporary one to start with, as just to see the locations, 'cause I'm sure they get data from those, I think.
Yeah, they
Well,
do. And actually, the ones that the town used to have would collect the data. I just don't think we ever really shared it with it. I think we had one employee on the highway department was the only one that actually had a phone that could actually retrieve the data. So I'm not sure it was making it to the sheriff's department. Um, so, but if it's okay with the board, I'll reach out to Sheriff Gully and see if we can see if they will bring their speed sign up or this trailer, whatever the thing is.
the one we had before was portable. You leave it on a pole for a while and move it to another one.
Oh, okay.
So they were portable, or it was portable. But it
And
wasn't
it just
worth.
tracks the readings that it captures.
Yeah, it's the same thing they have in.
rectangle one, right?
It's the ones they have like in Manchester when you come in, it tells you you're going too fast or slow down or whatever. So, but they do record information. You just have to download it, and the sheriff's department certainly would be very appreciative if we shared information like that with them. So, and so that's something we can bring up with the special projects. I can get quotes on new signs if we want to go down that road. But I think to start out with, I'll if it's all right with the board, I'll ask Sheriff Gully if they wouldn't mind bringing up their radar trailer and leaving around town a few places.
It was good to me.
Yeah. I like the idea, and it also shows that we're listening to the complaints about speeding. So I think residents, I think that might be, whether they're effective or not, those signs, I think it's a good, at least we're listening and we're taking care of, taking steps to kind of address it within our limits, So I like the idea.
And I think with so many Airbnbs in town, out of towners and going through town, I know when I'm in an area that I'm not familiar with and you see a sign, it tells you going a little bit too fast, you naturally slow down. So they definitely do have some value. So the other thing I had, and I know it wasn't on the agenda because there's really nothing to report on the BCRC, but I did talk to Dixie as being the alternate for the town of Sunderland, or the second representative. He's already involved with the BCRC on another level, but he has agreed to be the alternate for the town. So I don't know if we need to officially appoint him or list him on the webpage.
Just to list him.
Yeah, let me see what, because I think, what's Bill?
Last year it was Dixie and Andrew were both listed, I believe.
Let's see what Bill, alternate commissioners are voting members of BCRC, but for official actions, only one vote per municipal. And then it says this is Bill, the director of BCRC. FYI that the BCRC commissioners and alternates do not need to be select board members. The select board is free to appoint anyone from the town that it wishes. So I don't know if we just officially appoint him.
Sure.
Okay. I make a motion to appoint Dixie Zenz as the alternate to represent Sunderland on the BCRC commission.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Nope. All in favor of appointing Dixie Zenz as the alternate representing Sunderland on the BCRC commission, please say aye.
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 Okay, so that's official.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Rick. Let's see, all right, next thing is review of correspondence, signing warrants. There is excess weight permits for Bruce. I'd like to make a motion for Bruce to sign excess weight permits. I get a second.
Didn't we? Oh,
I think we discussed it, but we never did it.
we never did it so that we didn't have to do
So
this.
I'd like to make a motion that Bruce is authorized to sign current and future excess weight permits as the road liaison.
I second that. Okay, all in favor? If there's no discussion, all in favor of Bruce or the road liaison signing present and future excess weight permits, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Bruce. I do have two things in this folder from Caroline. The first one is price quote for chloride. And this is for after July 1st. I guess it's the contract that Mark gets for chloride. It's 5,000 gallons at $1.11 from Innovative Surface Solutions. I don't know if we want to take a look or discuss, but this is the one that starts after July 1st. But they're needing the signature on it. I don't know if anyone wants to look at it first. Bruce, do you usually sign those? As a road liaison?
I would probably.
Okay.
What do you think, Rick?
I'm sorry?
Should I sign that, being the road liaison?
Oh, is it a contract for it?
I think I was.
It's the chloride.
No, I understand that, but is that what I obviously can't see the document. Is it just a contract for it or?
Yeah, so they're looking
Is
for
it
an
a quote?
annual volume commitment of 15,000 gallons.
They want an annual commitment. I think pretty much how it's been going.
No, that's fine. I mean, if that's what Mark's looking for, then yeah, you can sign it, Bruce.
We need to make a motion for that, I guess.
Do we
Make a
actually-
motion that Bruce can sign that chloride contract.
I'll second that one. All in favor of Bruce signing the chloride contract, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, the next one, the next one I have is a material quote from Pike Industries. It's for crushed gravel, 1,500 tons, $10.80, so it's $16,200. If you guys want to take a look, there's spots for 2 signatures on that.
Is that for the budget
So
going
recent-
into effect July 1st?
I don't think this is for July 1st, the gravel. I think the chloride's July 1st, but my understanding was this was for now, because they want to this is what I think last summer they came to us and they wanted to switch their gravel from a fall time delivery to a springtime, so that way the gravel gets put into the soil. And that
I think it'd be helpful if and I think Bruce and I kind of touched on this at one point. If we could be updated on where we stand on our budgets per line item, on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. So, once again, we're not asking, is this for this year or next year? Do we already have the money? Has it been spent? I think that's something that our either town clerk or treasurer, just keep us up to date where we are in the budget, especially this time of year as we're coming towards the end. I think it's common knowledge that, maintenance is way over this year on the highway department. So where are we going to steal from, to cover that cost? So.
Yeah, and I can meet with Caroline and see if, when she gives us these folders, to give us, even just if it's the snippet of for whatever the category is, at least give us the amount that's left in the account or what we're working with.
I think
Yeah.
you can get like a printout of the highway,
Okay.
you know, the budget.
Yeah, I can, I
Yeah,
can, I can.
where we are year to date. That's all we need to know is where we stand year to date per line item.
Budget versus actual.
Yeah,
Mark actually talked to me about this.
this
and,
quote,
Yeah, they're not actually the price, but of going there and getting this, and kind of where he had pretty much a plan where I think they still have some money for it, because we got some last fall, and then we put it so it would actually come out, we'd get some in the spring. So
Yeah.
we kind of went through this already.
okay,
You need to discuss it with me some, so, but I think it's a good idea to every so often see where we're at.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I always thought it was kind of difficult to make sometimes decisions when you don't have the financial, you're kind of going off of, you know, not having real-time data of what you're working with.
But not 1 week, 2 more weeks,
Yeah, it makes, I mean, it's tough to do all this town stuff, and you have open meeting laws and timelines and stuff, it's like, how do you do this? So, yeah, without breaking laws, so, which we don't do,
Ever.
so. What do you think, Bruce?
I think it's fine, but
Okay,
I don't know if do you think we need like more time before or you know, how we just kind of get the folders and,
I never, the process of the folders, I never really liked in my short time here, in terms of, I always thought it was kind of difficult where we're given a folder on a desk and trying to make decisions based on that folder without having extra information. I don't know how to fix that though, with our size town.
do we, how do we pay like everything once a month? Or,
I mean, I think they try to do it at least once or twice a month based on the folders.
Rick, you have any input on that? Do you have any input on that?
Sorry, I'm trying to eat. No, I think it's you know, I think Todd hit a good point. I mean, it's hard to make a quick decision. I mean, you're looking at bills and everything, but I think we need more information to see where we actually are in the budgets.
So,
I mean, doesn't even express any urgency, the need for this, is that fair to assume, or is there more information than that?
I think they wanna actually get it and they're going to
Yeah.
store it.
Part of their plans?
I think it's kind of goes in with their planning of work too, so,
Getting that gravel out spring into summer, right?
yeah. I think they have some stockpiled, I think, up on the Kelly's Dam now. And so I don't really talk to him lately. But we did discuss this and him going up to Pike and getting it. And the funds are available, and I don't know if it's coming out of the gravel or where it's actually coming from.
I think we can approve this for tonight. I mean, if they need it for right now, but I think moving forward, I think is what we're looking for is, you know, we have more information as far as where we stand on the budget.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Okay. I guess,
So there's 2 people to sign. So
yeah,
would that be me and you, or?
yeah, I guess so. That's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do we need a motion, I guess? Or, motion for Bruce, and myself to sign the quote from Pike Industries for gravel. Can I have a second?
Second.
Alright, any other discussion? Oh, all in favor of, Bruce and myself signing the gravel quote, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'll follow up with Caroline on Wednesday and try to get a better format to this. The last thing I have in this folder, there's no supporting documents, it's just photos of, I guess it's the Welcome to Sunderland, the last two remaining signs. It doesn't say anything about costs or what, I guess we have the signs, they just need to be installed. I don't know if it's informational or what, but.
I totally missed that. Oh, the last two signs?
Yeah, I think that might be from Dixie, I think he might have dropped that off. So it's the last two locations on 7A, on the north and south end. It looks like it's outside of the state right of way.
Yeah, they had to get permission from the landowner.
Yeah, I'm assuming, because there's no other documents, that maybe they got that.
I know the last time, or just recently when we talked to Mark, that was brought up and him and Jeff were going, or not Jeff, Rob, we're going to go and look.
Okay.
Oh, so that's, yeah, that one, that was a questionable one there,
Why is that?
because it's on the other side of the road.
Yeah, I think that was, because the other side, if it was on the right side of the road, it would have been on like a 25-foot. Is that the one that would have been on like a 25-foot tall,
I think they were going to relook at that. I would actually don't know, but I know Mark and Rob are gonna get together. And I don't think that's where it's gonna go.
okay. Yeah, there's nothing else in here, so I'm assuming it's just informational. I don't have anything else for that. And then we have the three folders. I signed, just because there's only three of us here, so I did sign on some of them. Other than that, the next item would be executive session. Do we need to have, I don't know if GNAT's still on.
We're recording.
Okay, we're recording. Do we want to have an executive session to discuss town personnel issue? No? Okay. What do you think, Bruce?
Another time.
Okay. We can hold off on that one. Alright, so you guys will sign that. The next business meeting for Sunderland Select Board will be April 28th, 2025 at 7 p.m. That's it. Can I have a motion to adjourn? If everyone's good.
Yeah, make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? We're all good? Okay, all in favor of adjourning at 8:57, please say aye. Yeah.
Did we say the next, you said.
I did say, yeah, the next business meeting will be April 28th.
Just wanted to check.
Yep. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:57. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
See you guys.
See ya. Good night.
Bye.
Recording stopped.
I thought he was heading to his bed.
I think he is.
Going to bed.
Was a lot of stuff.
I did not think this would go this long.